This week's mystery, in case you couldn't tell from the title, is a bit of a strange one. Let's head right on in. Go-Go Ackman was released for the Super Famicom in Japan on December 23rd, 1994. Made by Banpresto, it's based on the comedic Toriyama Akira manga of the same name, about a demon child named Ackman who collects souls for the Great Demon King, but isn't so great at his job. The game sees you take control of Ackman and use various weapons and items to clear stages based on stories from the manga. It's a fairly standard action-adventure game for the time it came out in, and was promoted making heavy use of Toriyama's name to shift cartridges. But before long, some strange rumours started to spread about the game. The game cartridge, in particular. It was said you could tell which households were playing the game by the large number of pigeons waiting outside. Yes, playing the game would apparently summon pigeons to your household. A lot of pigeons. But why? And was it even true to begin with? As mentioned earlier, the game was made by Banpresto. At the start of the game's release, Banpresto wasn't doing so hot financially. Rumours started to spread that, in order to save on production costs, the company turned to overseas factories to manufacture their game cartridges, and these factories used less than reputable materials when putting the cartridges together. This, it was said, occasionally led to Banpresto falling on the wrong side of the compliance laws in order to save a few dollars. As the rumour goes, the overseas factory that Banpresto contracted to make their cartridges used large amounts of lead in their products to keep prices low. This was against the law, but as long as nobody found out, no harm, no foul, right? But then these cartridges full of lead were said to give off high-frequency sound waves once put into a Super Famicom and started up. And a surprising result of this was the large number of pigeons it seemed to summon to the household playing the game in question. If you played Go-Go Ackman, made from cheap products and lead from overseas, then it would emit frequencies that would summon pigeons to your house. Everyone would know what you were playing. Weird, right? But was it true? Were cheap, lead-laden cartridges really summoning pigeons when people turned them on to play a video game? Could that even be possible? As you may or may not be aware, around the time of the Super Famicom, Nintendo were incredibly picky about the quality of their products. It was hard to get something approved by them, and Nintendo manufactured almost all game cartridges themselves. So, at the first hurdle, this rumour seems incredibly unlikely. Nintendo wanted to avoid the lack of quality that was believed to have contributed to Atari's fall in the 80s, and they did so by controlling what could and couldn't appear on their systems, with an iron fist. It's hard to believe that they'd let another company that was financially struggling at the time contract cartridge manufacturing to an outside and overseas source where Nintendo would have no control over it. But let's humour the rumour for a moment, and imagine that, sure, the cartridges were made for cheap overseas. Let's say that, yes, they were full of lead, despite being illegal. If such a thing were to occur, could this actually summon pigeons through high-frequency waves that only they could hear? Well, no. Pigeons aren't bats. They don't move around through high-frequency sound pulses, nor are they attracted to them. In fact, most birds, including pigeons, don't hear high frequencies at all. They may hear lower ones better than humans, but they can't hear higher ones. As such, they wouldn't be summoned to these high frequencies because, just like us, they can't hear them. So, where did this rumour even come from then? That part is also unknown. It has been around for decades and likely started on the playground, as many urban legends did back then, or potentially as a story in an old gaming magazine, as many others have. It became even more widespread through personal blogs and Knee Channel through the 2000s, by which time it was spoken of as if it was already well known. We may never find out exactly where it came from, or even why, but it's an interesting, if strange, legend that's still passed around today. But what do you guys think about this one? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you again next time.